Stupid ass. What's good, everybody? Santi back with another video. And what I wanted to discuss is something that a lot of men need to understand. You know, a lot of us are not given the proper information that we need in order to maintain healthy relationships with people, you know. But in this particular instance, I'm talking about if you are a man and you want to build a long-term relationship with a woman, you have to be conscious of what it takes to maintain a relationship, from attraction, you know what I'm saying, to seduction and understanding being in your masculine frame and being grounded in yourself and in tune with your emotions, you know. Before I started recording this video, I had come across something that was being discussed by another guy on his channel in regards to Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, and I didn't know that they were going through a divorce, right? And the thing of it is that, you know, a lot of relationships fail because of these ideas given to us about from society about how a relationship is supposed to go, and the majority of that is misleading. You know, people assume that whenever they get married, that, oh, okay, this person, because we got married, this person is just supposed to stay with us for, you know, forever through thick and thin. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants someone to be loyal to them and to be committed to them in the long term. You know what I'm saying? However, those things that attracted you to that person or attracted that person to you, if you don't maintain alignment with that person and are conscious of who that is and who you are, that person is not going to stay with you. There's things that you have to actively do to keep a person attracted to you. You feel me? Because there may be certain parts of your personality or certain attributes that turn that person off, you know, and you can engage in a behavior or say something that causes them to never look at you the same, you know. And one reason why I'm not so adamant on getting married is because I don't like a lot of people being involved in my relationship, and people take something that is supposed to be between you and that other person, and it's supposed to be sacred, and they put it before the public eye like it's something to masquerade, or like it's a popularity contest. Anytime somebody gets engaged or married, they put it on social media for everybody to see. Now everybody's in your business. You know, when I went through a breakup in my early 20s, I recognized how the girl I was with was easily manipulated by the public eye and her friends and what society had to say and all of these expectations she had. I'm not going to deal with a woman who is so easily misled. You know, and see, that's why a lot of relationships fail, because it's all of these unrealistic expectations, and everybody assumes that their relationship is supposed to be like the next person's. And then you got people on social media taking advice from people that don't even understand what it means to truly have a relationship. You don't understand attraction and seduction, and you don't understand masculine and feminine energy, and how they are supposed to cohabitate in a space together. See, for me, I'm not living with a woman. If we're going to be in a relationship, she's going to stay in her own place and I'm going to stay in mine. Now, she can come and stay with me from time to time, but she's not going to always be in my space. You know, she's not going to be in my space. I'm not going to allow her in my space to the point where she interferes with my relationship that I've developed with myself when I was by myself, when I was alone. You know, and see, that's what people don't understand. You have to be conscious in a relationship. You can't just sit here and do things haphazardly and get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You can't disconnect with yourself to the point where now you're no longer conscious as to what's really going on between you and that other person. People will get so complacent in a relationship that they let their partner start making all the decisions. And you think that just because y'all have made this bond or you bind it or you made this contract through law and that says you all are married, that person is just supposed to stay with you forever. And you're not supposed to do anything to maintain that relationship. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to continue to participate and enjoy life and do different things and do new things and evolve in your relationship. Oh, well, now that we're married, it's just this one way that shit is supposed to be. And then 10, 20 years down the line, you're no longer attracted to this person. Why? Because you and this person have become too familiar to the point that the attraction has dwindled because there's no novelty, there's no new experiences, there's no space in between so that attraction can build, and neither one of you are evolving and growing. You know what I'm saying? You have become stuck and stagnant in a certain way of being, you know? And so then that's why you got divorces and things like that. Guys will go through breakups and they don't even understand why their girl don't want to be with them anymore. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't give you any hints. She didn't give you any indication that she didn't want to be with you anymore. And you're just blindsided by it. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, when I went through my breakup in my early 20s, before we broke up, we had gone on a break like a week or two before. But I felt it in my gut that it was going to happen. I just didn't know how to deal with that. You know, I just didn't know how to deal with with the senses at that time and what it was telling me, you know. But as a man, if you want a woman to stay with you, there's a certain type of person that you must consistently be. You must consistently be on point. You must consistently be aware of who the fuck you are. You know what I'm saying? You must protect your energy, set boundaries, remember who you are and your principles. You know what I'm saying? Know what your purpose is and those things that make you happy independently of her. You know? Like you cannot give up your power over yourself to your significant other. You know, because when you do that, then that's where your downfall is. And that's where all these spiritual afflictions will start to come from. Depression, anxiety, all of that. Because then once that person is gone, you don't know how to exist within your own space anymore. You don't know how to be to yourself. And you get lost. You know, and see, that's this whole idea. That's something that comes about through society and these false representations of relationships that they've been giving us through Hollywood media and all this romanticized bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So that's one reason why monogamy may not be for everybody. Like on one side of the spectrum, you can see yourself being with just one person. You know, but that's in your mind. That's not the reality of things. And then on the other hand, you may be like, well, dang, how can I really, with all these people in the world, how can I only just be attracted to just one person? Now, I said attracted and decided to commit with just one person. Now, what people don't understand is that just because you get married to somebody doesn't mean that people stop being attracted to you and that you stop being attracted to the other sex. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. Because you got to understand that monogamy in certain instances, now monogamy is not what you think it is. Monogamy is really just you having sex with one person for the entirety of your life. But that doesn't happen for the majority of people, depending on what society you live in, and depending on your culture and the religious background. If your culture and the religious background have that much control over your life, you will ultimately have people who just are with one person for their entire lives because they never had to say so otherwise. They become conditioned and they won't step outside of that because it's so ingrained in them, you know? So it's like people have to understand that you can't just expect a person to want to spend the rest of their lives with you, and you don't do anything to consciously maintain that relationship. It takes energy, it takes time and effort, you know, and it takes understanding that there's an order to this. You know what I'm saying? That relationships go through cycles, you know, because all the bullshit starts to happen once that honeymoon phase is over, you know, and then that person gets comfortable and they let their guard down, and then you start to see another side of them, you know. So then when you look at Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, it's like all that shit that Kanye West was doing, why would anybody want to stay with him? And then when it comes to Kim Kardashian, it's like, bro, she had a what's the word I'm looking for? A reputation that preceded Kanye. So she had already had a name for herself, and her family had already had a name prior to all of that. You know, so her identity with her family is what reigns supreme. And so that's something that you got to understand. Like, with the type of woman that you deal with, if she's one who's so caught up in public opinion and how her image looks in the eyes of society, you're gonna end up doing yourself a disservice as a man. You know, because that's one reason why my relationship in my early 20s had come to an end, but it needed to be. Because if I'm in a relationship with the girl, I don't need her family being involved, and I don't want my family involved in what the fuck goes on between her and I. I'm not publicizing it all on social media so that people can sit here and even have a view about it. I don't want nobody knowing nothing about who I deal with unless you have a person-to-person relationship with me. Other than that, you're just not gonna know certain shit. You're gonna know what I decide to divulge to you. But it's like I'm not gonna sit here and get with a partner and present her for public acclaim, or even if I do have children, have them publicized on social media like this is a fucking fashion show. I'm not doing that. And that's what we need to understand as men. Like, a woman is not gonna stay with us unless we actively are grounded in ourselves and we have our shit together and in order. And it's like certain things you should not be changing up when you get in a relationship with a woman. Like, y'all gotta be aware, bro. You have to be aware of your masculine responsibility and what you have to do for yourself. You know, and don't compromise that to be in a relationship with a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be aware, bro. Once you lose connection with your masculinity and who you're supposed to be, and you're not grounded in that anymore, you're gonna lose all of the women. You're gonna go from relationship to relationship, and you're gonna keep losing yourself. And women are gonna keep losing attraction for you until you come to recognize what it really takes. You know? But look at that, like, look at these relationships with these celebrities so that you don't find yourself in the same position that they are. You know? Because think about it, being in a relationship with somebody for 10, 15, 20 years is a lot of responsibility. Even when you're looking at with Will and Jada and stuff like that. Because people would just be like, you know, oh, back in the day, you know, and that's a whole nother conversation with the type of relationships that our grandparents, that they had, and our great-grandparents, you know what I'm saying? Because we didn't grow up in society then, so we really can't speak on it. But at the same time, we have to recognize how the laws were and the power that men had over women, you know, and where marriage really comes from, because it's not what people think it is, and it's not really based on anything biblical and what God deems is appropriate for humanity. It has nothing to do with God. It has always been the powers of men men and empires dictating these things and then putting them into law. And then after a while, they use religion and some deemed higher power to control the general public's mind.